the show. We're live on May 29th and ready to look at what caused panic in Beantown. Let's go to Kevin, who's ready to reignite that entire controversy.
Yeah, well, now that the fear-mongering journalists have moved on from Aquagate, let's get down to brass tacks and find out what the hell really happened. This past January, the city of Boston was shut down when mysterious electronic devices were discovered throughout the town. Shortly after the panic began, it became clear the devices were modeled after characters from Adult Swim's Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Two Boston area video artists, Peter Berdovsky and Sean Stevens, were arrested for installing the devices around the city and charged with placing a hoax device with intent to panic. As it turned out, both men were hired by marketing group Interference, Inc., which planned this stunt as a nationwide guerrilla marketing event for Adult Swim. And while similar devices went unnoticed in other cities, Boston went into a high-security lockdown. After Adult Swim's parent company, Turner Broadcasting, paid the city $1 million in damages, Berdovsky and Stevens performed community service, and the charges were dropped. Now that the dust has settled, it's time to find out what really happened.
The strain is unbearable, but I'm doing it hotter than ever before.
It's The Loop. All right, my guests tonight, the people charged in the entire Aquagate incident, Zebler and Sean Stevens. Gentlemen, welcome to The Loop. I see you found the latest and greatest in 1980s digital effects, and I'm glad you're putting them to use with us today. Let's get down to it, all right? You know, you're hired by Interference, Inc. to put up some, let's say, electronic devices around the city. At any point when you're hanging these battery-powered light brights, are you guys worried that they could cause panic or controversy or anything of that nature?
No.
No? None whatsoever?
No. To us and to all of our friends and to everybody who kind of knows the show and knows the cartoons and knows that style of art, it was pretty obvious what they were. And for some reason, maybe it's even our fault that we're stuck in our world
of love and freedom where, you know, art
and not fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, where you could look at a neon sign and say, hey, look, that might be a piece of art and not perhaps a terrorist threat.
And, I mean, I understand that people are scared. I understand that people are afraid. And retrospectively, I mean, it kind of makes sense why people freaked out, in a way.
Yeah.
But we really wish that the whole world would snap out of it and somehow just talk to each other and figure out what's wrong with everybody and not be afraid of things anymore.
I think we just need to, like, celebrate love, celebrate life, and celebrate joy and try and like, breed as much of those things as we can and try and stop breeding fear, because fear just isn't going to get us anywhere in the long term.
Right. Well, if you could mass-produce those fuzzy Zebler dolls that you have there, I think one in every home could immediately quell fears across the country. But let me take it back to January 31st. I mean, you guys wake up, all of a sudden, you're somehow the most wanted men in the country. I mean, the Boston police, the FBI, Homeland Security, of course, every media outlet, they're all searching for you guys. What's going through your mind at that point? I mean, are you in full-on freak-out mode? Did you call Interference, Inc.? Did you call anybody from Turner?
Should I start? Yeah. Well, it was kind of a crazy experience. My roommate's girlfriend woke all of us up, and she said, oh, my God, everybody, wake up. There's a terrorist scare in your neighborhood. Everybody needs to get out as soon as possible. And literally, within a few minutes, I figured out what it was. I got to tell you, it was kind of an unbelievable feeling. Once again, I started feeling like I'm living some kind of a Hollywood movie where everybody's out to get me. And yeah, one of the first things that I did was call my bosses at Interference and told them, you know, you guys really should take care of it. This is a big problem. Boston is really freaking out. And they told me, sure, we're going to take care of everything. Stay tight. Don't worry about anything. You guys are off the hook. Don't worry. And
so they completely put you at ease. They right away said, you guys relax. We got this one for you.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? A few hours later, I still, you know, saw people in Boston freaking out. I called them back again, and I said, listen, obviously you didn't take care of it yet because they're still blowing up the Moonanites.
Right. And, now, were you mad at Interference at that point? I mean, you must be a little upset. These are the guys that hired you to do this. They didn't step in and take the heat. I didn't see any spokespeople standing on courthouse steps talking about, well, we were paid to do this.
I think especially with the sort of how a lot of the media was looking at us and saying that we were disrespecting people with our press conference, which we just did because we didn't want to feed the media anything else that they could use to create more fear, because we just thought that there was enough of that already.
You're talking about the press conference where you guys were only accepting questions about hairstyles, correct?
Yes.
And so that wasn't done as a Moonanite middle finger to anybody. It was just you were worried at that point everybody's going to take what you're going to say and put it under a microscope and have panel discussions like this one?
Every detail of the situation, the media was just like, you know, this is terrorism. And, you know, the funny thing is that the same day there was actually a real, like, hoax device planted in a hospital by somebody else, and that person hasn't been prosecuted. So it's just this weird situation where it got so much publicity that they had to react to it, and we ended up being sort of the scapegoats. And even though Interference and Turner took responsibility, you know, they didn't take any responsibility for us.
Right. Monetarily, they ponied up, but they didn't do anything to really clear you guys necessarily, did they?
Yeah, at all, really.
I gotta tell you, I had a really surreal moment with one of the people from G4. You called me up when there was a police outside the house that I was in.
Yeah.
And while you were trying to get information or permission to use my video at your network, they were coming into my house to interrogate me.
Yeah, we were just helping them track down your location, actually. It had nothing to do with
good job,
with B-roll clearance, but we appreciate it nonetheless. I mean, look, you guys were labeled as terrorists, which was absurd. And as you said, there was an actual hoax device. There's all this stuff going on. I mean, at the end of the day, do you guys feel that the city of Boston overreacted?
I think that the city, in terms of the people, didn't overreact, and the city, in terms of even the police, didn't overreact. But I think once all was said and done and the truth was out there, I think that the Attorney General's office overreacted in not just dropping the charges on us, because, you know, we were paid to do a job. We just thought it would be fun, and we thought it would be something people would enjoy, so we did it. And, you know, they're making us to be bad people.
All right, so I want to ask one final question, then after all is said and done, I mean, obviously the charges were dropped. We were glad to hear. You guys had to do some community service, which is fine, but what's the greater impact that this had on you guys as artists or just as citizens of Boston?
I think both of us at this point are really sick of people being afraid of each other. And ultimately, if anything good could come out of this, is that both of us could do our little bit to try to make this whole world a little bit more peaceful. So we no longer need to be afraid of pretty blinky things. And no matter what it takes us, we will keep fighting for peace, and we will keep fighting for keeping people unafraid. And the other thing that I've learned is, you know, this isn't something that I wanted, but it certainly has taught me, you know, never believe that you can't make an impact with one person.
No, you guys have made an impact with far more than one or two people. Pretty or blinky or pink or fuzzy, we love you guys, and we thank you for coming on and sharing your story with us. Big thanks to Zebler and Sean.
All right, stay right there. Attack of the show is as fair and balanced as Halo 2's matchmaking system. Make of that what you will.
Transferring songs to your friends just got a whole lot easier when we show you how to use Tubes on WebTools.